Hi, I'm the Free American Thinker, and I wanted to talk with you today about something that is really powerful and useful as a tool, and something I just recently talked about with trying to understand God. And that is, when we find arguments with each other and disagreements, really what we're trying to do is we're trying to place values on what is true or what is not true, or what it has components of truth in it and what does not have components of truth in it. We can talk about that later with ones and zeros. But the thing to remember is we are all infinite beings of love and light, and all of the truths of all of the universe is already inside of you. You just have to go looking for it. I'll give you an example. When people talk about, or you find an argument, right? Let's say someone's trying to argue and discuss, food and diet, right? Exercise makes you healthy and helps prevent you from being overweight. No, you're wrong. Your diet helps prevent you from being overweight. Do you see the ridiculousness? I can't call it stupidity, but do you see the funniness and the humility of that? I know everyone's been in a situation where you ourselves have argued about stuff like this. This is the cause of this. No, this is the cause of this. Essentially what is going on is two parties are more or less viewing two different components of a bigger picture, and they're placing a larger value of the component of cause one way or the other. Essentially, they're trying to find 100% causality with this one specific component as to explaining the outcome or the bigger picture within their perspective. And the thing is that essentially all things in the universe are infinite. All thoughts and ideas are infinite. Now that doesn't mean you cannot come to general overall understandings or a larger percentage of reality, right? But that means that there is, at least if you have an 80% of an understanding of a subject, there's going to be 20% that you're really never going to have, or 50-50, 70-30, however you want to look at it. And I'll give you another great example of this. And this is actually really important because it is actually, we'll go into some history, which is the moon landing, right? Did we go to the moon? Yes. Did Hollywood film the moon landing? Yes. It is actually true that both answers are correct, because here's a little tidbit. What actually happened was we did go to the moon, but when we got there, there were other extraterrestrial vehicles and other beings watching us very closely with a concern, because we went there in a hateful military consciousness, right? Remember what it means to travel through the space, and the consciousness and the heart posture that's required to do it successfully. So what happened was they knew that these vehicles were going to be there before they ever got there. And we had anti-gravity crafts that were already there, that were going along with the astronauts there. So what happened is the military and NASA knew that there were going to be other beings, and also our own craft that also had anti-gravity. And so they kind of spun it to kind of divide us, essentially. We did go to the moon, but they also had backup film from Hollywood to snapshot different shots on the moon where they knew there were going to be anti-gravity craft around the rim of the crater as we were being watched. And so they sliced parts of the Hollywood film into different snapshots, because they had a delay between them on the moon and the feed on everyone's TV in 1969. And they knew this was going to happen. So they did both. So when people argue, did we go to the moon or not? We totally did, and we totally filmed it. And this is a great example of argument, because it is a really heated argument. It's actually known that Armstrong, when he came back to the NASA director, he actually punched him in the face once they pulled him out of the pod, because they were lied to themselves, the astronauts. The astronauts were told you're going to the moon, but in fact, there are other people who know much more about it. He punched the director of NASA in the nose and said, "F you, how dare you send us to the moon on bicycles when you were already there in Ferraris?" So imagine a rocket being compared to an interdimensional, at least an anti-gravity electromagnetic disk, right? Obviously, the anti-gravity is the Ferrari, and the rocket is the bicycle. So things to think about when we find arguments and discussions on this. It's a very long subject, and we can get into it more. God bless. The truth is inside you.